Welcome to Podtendo's Legend of Zelda Retrospective. We are going to be primarily looking at Majora's Mask during these next few shows. We are going to be doing a deep dive into thematical elements, gameplay, and the design of this game. Enjoy. Hey guys, welcome to the last, not just back, but to part 5, our final look at the Zelda 64 duology, if that's what you want to refer to it, or just the Majora Mask game and Ocarina of Time. We're going to wrap them all up today. Pretty exciting. We're going to deep dive into the thematic elements, gameplay, design, and characters that have been captivating gamers since 2000, and really take our time to enjoy this game that's become a cultural phenomenon. In our 4th episode, we looked at mask collecting in the game, how they interact with this very in-depth interactive world, and finally we discussed how we survived the moon. Today we're going to look at other side quests of Majora's Mask, a randomizer, which was interesting, compare the original release of this game to the 3DS remake, and finally give our final thoughts on our experience of both Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. Welcome, I am your co-host Mick, and I'm joined every episode by my lovely and talented co-host
Tyson.
Nice, welcome. That's it, we made it.
Absolutely. You know, it's been quite the ride. The N64 is not the workhorse of graphics, sometimes, but you know what, these games innovate in other ways, and I think that it's kind of interesting to kind of get to the end of it after all this. It's been an interesting year.
Very, very true. I do love hate, is that the correct word? No, only love. I was just going to compare this to our Final Fantasy VII retrospective last year that ran for like 12 episodes, and there was movies and spin-off games. I think this was more satisfying because we kind of kept to like 2 really good core games as opposed to having to get fluff at the end, right? I think it kind of burnt out, versus I think we're still kind of going strong. We still got our momentum, and I think we're going to have fun throughout the rest of the show, and then we're good. You know, a big, nice stamp on this one, so...
Yeah, nice to add it to the record books. We can put it back up on the shelf and move on to the next one, knowing that we actually spent a little bit more time and enjoyed it.
Yeah, I feel like we'll never look back at any point and be like, oh, we did Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask dirty. Nope, we did not, because we took our sweet diddly old time with it.
Yeah. I think the only thing we didn't do is add a Let's Play video component, and then we'd be like super fans.
There you go. Well, maybe it's coming. I mean, our YouTube, I do Super Mario World. I've been playing that. That's going to take me like 90 episodes because I'm just taking my sweet little time with that. So maybe that'll appear sometime on the YouTube channel. Maybe we'll grow on YouTube. Or we just stay pod. I don't know. Yep.
Or we just clip it along at our pace. And I mean, I'm enjoying watching your playthrough of Super Mario World.
Nice. Good. Awesome. All right. Cool. How about this game, though, specifically today, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, was developed by Nintendo. It sold 3.36 million copies. The release date was October 26, 2000. How long to beat has this game at 20.5 hours. And where to play? You can play it on N64, 3DS Remake, GameCube, Wii. Yay. All right, so on to the level notes section. Now that the adventure has been wrapped up and we saved the day, is there anything else we can do in this game to buff our character up? Let's find out. So I guess we're going to look at other side quests. I think we did this in Ocarina of Time, where we kind of tore apart the side quests. So I think I'm gonna read them, and we can just pass, because some of them suck. All right, so we looked extensively at the mask collecting, which I think is really the meat and potatoes, the main side quest of this game. But what other kind of mini games exist? We have the Keaton quiz. Is that worth our time?
I don't think so. Doesn't even really ring a bell, to be honest.
So there's like those patches of grass. If you hit, they like kind of scurry away, and if you do a spin attack and kill them all with the Keaton's mask, the Keaton, which is like a fox with a bunch of tails, pops up and asks you questions. Answer them all right, you get a heart piece.
Oh no, skip it.
All right. How about? I mean, I did describe it in detail. How about mental training? So the postman's like, hey, can you count to 10? If you can, you get a heart piece. All right. Okay. How about the swamp shooting gallery? So you go to where like you run into Tingle when you run into the swamp.
Yep.
You turn left and you go down, and there's like a shooting gallery. There's wolves, crows. It's a thing.
Yeah. it's a shooting gallery. It's
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Okay. How about the doggy race? So if you have the Mask of Truth or something, you might be able to talk to them and find out which dog is the fastest, and then you bet and you win a heart piece.
RNG gambling in a Nintendo game. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. How about the old Kome's boat cruise? So I think she flies around and has a little target that you can shoot. And maybe you get a heart piece.
Yeah, that one's it's interesting, but still another shooting gallery. So
yeah, this one is probably the better one. I think because it's a little bit, it's a reusing of an area because you already took the boat cruise to take the picture of the big Octoroks and get to the Deku Palace. Like it adds that extra little element. It's a little bit more fun, and it's not just kind of like a time you have to remember. Oh, if I don't hit that Deku up on that left pillar, it won't spawn again or something, and I'll miss that 200 points, and I'll have to keep replaying it.
Yeah,
again.
Well, and I think compared this to the Epona shooting grounds, it's kind of, this is more interesting. The other thing is, I mean, maybe because we just played Pokemon Snap, but I was getting Pokemon Snap flashbacks.
Oh yeah, because it is like little jungle-y swamp area. So all right.
Yep,
How about
you're stationary. Yep.
The swamp fishing hole. I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've ever fished in Majora's Mask. I did not know it was a thing.
Yeah, I can't.
Maybe it's just on the
if I did or didn't.
Swamp fishing hole Majora's Mask. Like, what do you think you get? It's located to the shooting gallery.
I'm going to say a heart piece because that's all they do is heart pieces.
You get to fish for free. It's only in the 3DS remake, so that explains kind of why I don't really recall it from a kid. Because it's probably something. And apparently there's another fishing hole in the ocean? Huh. All right.
Well, apparently we missed out on this enjoyable thing where you can fish and collect. You can collect rupees?
Cuckoo fish?
That sounds horrible.
I mean, it makes sense that they can't add something. Lord Chapu Chapu. Cool. They can't add extra heart pieces to this area because it didn't exist in the original. So it kind of makes sense that it's just for money, I guess. Sure.
That's dumb though.
Yeah.
Because you pay. I guess it's just another way to spend rupees and spend your time in the game. It's fishing.
Yeah. All right. Where are we at? Fishing hole, town shooting gallery. So you shoot Octoroks. A little bit more standard, very similar to one of the galleries that's in Ocarina of Time. I think it's even the same guy.
Yeah. Wonder if they're cousins.
Probably. How about the Honey and Darling shop? So you fight. There's a bomb chew target game the first day, bomb basketball on the second, and targets on the third day.
Yeah. Interesting-ish, but I mean, I've always found throwing bombs and dealing with bomb chews frustrating. So not easy to me, but easy enough to just do it once and be done with it. So
I will talk about this. Let's just talk about the Deku Scrub playground. So you're a Deku Scrub and you have to go around to little platforms and collect all the rupees. You can't touch the floor and you have to hover. It's kind of fun, but the fact you have to do it on multiple days. So essentially you have to take one full cycle and do the Honey Darling game and then the Deku game repeatedly. And you have to do it repeatedly. So that means you have to have a bunch of money to pay for it if you fail. I don't like that. I don't like that it's cute, but if the reward was something minute, but if you're in a randomizer, and there's a key item locked behind this thing, really annoying. Not a fan.
Yeah, you could squeeze all this and call it a festival and just do a festival event on one day and just have you run around and do it all in one day. Be done with it.
Or just
you don't need to do it multiple times. That's just stretching it.
Well,
even to waste a whole cycle. Because if you miss on this, let's say you miss on the second day, you start again. Miss on the third day, start again. It's
make it minute. The Honey and Darling one, if you beat it, they're hey, now you can unlock this wardrobe designer. You can customize your looks. You can have a green hat and a blue tunic, and then you do the Deku one and you can customize your we're we can do clothes for Zoras and stuff, and you can have a cool shirt or something, something dumb like that that's just inconsequential would probably make more sense as a reward for something like that, because that's a lot of work for just a heart piece.
Yeah, especially because with like double the defense. You don't really need
No.
all the heart pieces in the world, but
Nope, you really don't. You really don't. How about the Dampy? Speaking of other mini games that I probably don't do and probably dislike, are the Dampy digging tour. You have to walk Dampy around. There's like platforms and stuff, and he falls off. And I don't know if I'm a fan.
yeah, I don't know. I don't really like Dampy. He's goofy.
He's kind of goofy.
It is what it is. I think that like anytime that you have to wait for another character to initiate to get them to do something is really frustrating. Because it's like, what the heck is it? It's literally just like, why can't I think of the darn term? It's an escort mission, but that you can easily screw up and it costs you money. It's awful.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's it. It's great. It's great. How about what's the other one? Poe Battle Arena. I don't know if I've ever I think you just fight the Poes and then you get something.
I don't remember doing this.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I feel like maybe something I've skipped. How about Fisherman's Island? So in the Great Bay Area, there's like a guy you can talk to, and you have to like jump back and forth to the platforms that has like a light on it. You have to do it in like a certain amount of time, and you get a heart piece.
Oh yeah. No, this was a time filler and a half with platforming in a Zelda game, and I'm never too much of a fan of platforming in a Zelda game unless it's Breath of the Wild.
I would say of what we just talked about, so between like the Honey Darling, Deku Scrub, Dampe, like Poe Battle Arena, probably fun, right? Like a little bit of sword fighting skills. Sword fighting's not hard, and like this, like some platforming is better. I'd rather do that than have to wait for Dampe. So. Yep.
Right. Oh yeah. No, anything's better than an escort mission.
And then finally, the best thing is the Goron race.
Oh yeah. This was the thing that I remember just us even competing all around a cartridge, get the game to this point, and then we'd all just like sit around passing the controller, just taking turns, see who could beat it, because we all struggled with it as kids, because good times.
Yep.
But I like, man, for an actual like mini game to stand out in my mind, it's like, yeah, no, this is the gem of the whole bunch, and it's a racing game, and I love racing games.
Yeah, it is kind of fun. Like, it almost wishes there was other tracks or circuits, or like you could it'd be great if you could do like a whole 3-day cycle of Goron Link the Racer or something. Like there was a fun side game or side quests or something that got you something inconsequential. But it'd be like kind of fun, right? You're like, oh, you better win this big race or something, right? And there's like 5 races you have to complete. Kind of interesting.
Absolutely. Or mix this in with getting like the gold dust.
Yeah.
And then, like, you win the race, get the gold dust, and include it in like upgrading your sword or something. So like, it mixes in like the blacksmithing part with the racing, and I think that'd be awesome. Like, win races, upgrade your gear, take everything to the next level, hold more bombs. That's way cooler than just like opening a chest.
Yeah. All right. So that is all of everything you could do. If you did all those things, you beat it, you buffed your character out, you got your milk that makes you unlimited magic. I don't know what that's called. Long milk or something like that. You got a Fierce Deity's mask. You're unstoppable. You beat the game. Good job.
Yep.
But what if we added a twist? What if we randomized everything? So we've covered randomizers a couple times on this podcast. We discussed them as part of our side quest way back in the day on like I don't even know what the heck we're talking about, because I don't go back and listen to episodes before 50. That's kind of my canon, is like we have the first 50 episodes and then like 51 happened and all of a sudden the show got better. So I go back and listen to like 51 onwards. That's just me.
That makes sense.
Yeah. We covered Link to the Past and Super Metroid randomizer 2 summers ago. We looked at an Ocarina of Time randomizer a few months ago. And today I challenged Tyson to play Majora's Mask randomizer with me. Let's see how well he did. So the goal was who could get the most masks before you got stuck and had to look at the guide or like the spoilers. I got 7 masks.
Dang. Wow, you did good.
All right. Okay, well, I win. Good.
Yep. No, I got 0. I ran around so lost. I didn't realize that I wasn't so familiar with it, and it's so limiting if you don't have a sword or anything. I was so lost. Like, it was a good time. Let me say, me and the gold dust Because that was the one thing I got. I got the gold dust from the freaking thing. I was like, I got a bottle, but I can't even use the bottle because I can't even dump it because I can't even get to the Goron thing. So I literally ran around, checked all the any passage that I could, and it was just like, nope, just got stuck with some gold dust running around. And it wasn't even the WWE wrestler. It was...
Yeah. No, it was actually just a bottle full of gold dust. Huh. That's... Huh.
Yeah,
did you beat... Because if you got perfect... So I think if the town shooting gallery got you the gold dust or something like that?
No.
Clock Town. Okay, so if you played the clock Town shooting gallery, I think you got a red potion, which then you could go to the southern swamp, give it to Kome, and get something else or something, and unlock the boat cruise, and at least get to the Deku Palace. Something else in the town, you got the magic bean, right? So then you have the magic bean, you've got a bottle, you could grow the sprout or something. You could go see the magic bean salesman who sold you something, like maybe a
how did you get the money to play the game?
Well, you could sell the gold dust to the curiosity shop guy for like 500 rupees.
I didn't even think to sell the gold dust because I was like, I need the bottle for something. I'm gonna have to. That's the only thing I had. Why did I sell? I feel like this.
I mean, in theory, you could have like played your ocarina in tough time, like went back in time, and then you don't have the gold dust. You just have an empty bottle.
See, I didn't even think of that. I was like trying to get to the Goron village to just be like, how do I get? But
you don't have a sword to upgrade, so that doesn't work either.
No, and I got that's why I was like, I ended up just like checking out like Long Ranch, seeing what I could do there.
Okay.
It's like nothing. It's like
nothing. Yeah. The Bremen, you could have talked to the Bremen mask guy down by the pool on the second day, and he gave you some innocuous item, I think. Cafe's mom, she gives you the mask, right? You could talk to her, and she gives you something. Maybe she gives you the gold dust. Is that the only thing you did?
I got mine from the Great Fairy. So
okay, Great Fairy. You
Great
could have
Fairy,
went
gold dust, and I was like, what do I do? And then I ran around and I like talked to everybody. It's like, I need money to play the games. So how can I get money? So then I like.
Well, there's a treasure chest on top of the shooting gallery. So if you go to the kind of like the north side of the town or whatever it is, you can like jump over these two little things. Actually, if you get perfect on the shooting gallery too, you get the Fierce Deity mask, and then you can just run around as Fierce Deity and you have a sword all the time.
Yeah, see, that would have been nice.
Yeah,
I had an ocarina and a bottle full of gold, and I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do with this?
Someone gives you. I got the arrow pretty early on, like the bow and arrow too. Like maybe the heart piece on top of the clock tower. Like if you just run behind you, like on top of the door.
Yeah, I didn't even think to look up there because I all the heart pieces seemed in the same spot for me because on top of the one because I couldn't even get to the bomber's mask or not the I couldn't get that because I didn't have a slingshot. So I was like, well, at least I can grab. Yeah, I could get the heart piece. So I got the heart piece, and I was like.
And it was a heart piece. What other ones were there? There's like, if you go to the observatory, you could get the...
But how do you get to the observatory?
Oh, yeah, you can't get to the observatory. That's right. And then what other ones? What other ones were there? There was a treasure chest. Oh, no, you need a sword or something. You need to be that. I think that's kind of how it works. So essentially you missed going to the swamp, right? So I think you needed to somehow find the arrow. Maybe the Happy Mask Salesman gives you the arrow or something.
Yeah, I should have just sold the damn gold dust.
Yeah,
that was my fatal flaw. But I was like, no, I need this. Being a collector and never getting rid of a key item. Why you can't sell key items? Heck, no, that's my stupidity. I didn't realize that there was a spoilers.
Well, I mean, you could have just like sold. You could have just saved and went back to the start and then did it again, right? I
did, and then you know what I got? Gold dust from the Great Fairy, and I was like, you son of a bitch. And then
because you have to do it again, I think, as a transformation. So you need to be like Goron or Deku, because I think Kome gives you either the Deku mask or gives you the Goron mask. So then you can kind of fight and attack, right? And then in theory you could go do the swamp shooting gallery, which gives you some innocuous item too, right? That kind of helps you progress. So it was like this seed was bow early on, and then the masks, and somehow you get the Zora mask, and I forget where you get that. So I think I looked up that's where I kind of quit. So I had 7 masks. I looked up, I got the Zora mask, and then I was just stuck again. And because you have all the transformation masks, you're supposed to go play the, like, you know, that part where you have to be all the characters playing the songs in the bar, and then you get the Song of Awakening, and then you can like go and you can start progressing the rest of the game or something. So like that was kind of the linchpin, was get all the transformation masks, play that event. And I spent half my time running around doing nothing, looking at everything, and I got stuck because I forgot that you're supposed to play in the milk bar or something. So that's kind of where I got stuck.
Well done. Yeah. No, I ran around, scratched my head, and was like, I really don't know what to do in this game. It's so constricted because you need so much shit.
Yep.
It's like, I got stumped really early.
There you go. So yeah, so I don't know where I got the bow from, but the bow was important. I mean, I could probably look it up. Do we really want to know, like, how important is in our life do you think this is?
It's okay. It's okay. I can get it from you afterwards.
Challenge. Is that what? Oh no! What am I doing? Don't stop. Okay, I just want this document. So I'm looking for something bow, right? Starting item, bow upgrade. So you should have had a bow.
No.
You sure you didn't check your menu for the bow? Because starting item should have been your bow.
Well, now I'm confused.
All right.
You know what? I'll boot it up and we'll find out.
All right. Yeah. While Tyson does that, because I was like, the bow seemed very, like, I had it early on, so I think it was just in an item slot. So. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna feel really dumb if it is, because then it's like, wow, I really fucked this up. Because I like, there's nothing, like, the bottle just immediately went to my C slot. But we'll see. Let's.
All right. Okay.
Nick, I was gonna say, what's your favorite part of this randomizer?
Perfect. Yeah, let's get into the review a little bit. So, having to rethink the sequences of this game, it's refreshing to kind of dive into a game with a new set of eyes. However, I do not know Majora's Mask as well as I know Ocarina of Time, A Link to the Past, or Super Metroid, so I did not get very far in this playthrough, and it just, was not as successful. Yourself?
Yeah.
What was your most favorite part?
Really being confused and lost. Because it's like, this is actually kind of fun. It was kind of like a puzzle. It's like, what the hell can I do?
Yeah.
And I didn't think I could do anything. Yeah, sure enough. But I have 0 arrows.
Well, yeah, but you can like grow to grass and just throw grass and you get arrows.
Yeah, no, no, absolutely. But I did try to throw grass. It just didn't break for me. But there you go. I'm an idiot.
All right, good. I was like, perfect. So you actually could have got to the Goronville. Oh, no, you need bombs.
Yeah.
But you could at least like broken the. There you go. Oh,
but,
great.
Yeah, could have explored a lot more.
Yeah. Oh, all right. How about what's your most notable part? So for myself, I was getting to use the Fierce Deity mask anywhere. So that was one of the unlockables that I did mark. It was unlocked during the shooting gallery, and just running around as this big, powerful guy. You can like jump up ledges that were inaccessible by Child Link. Having a sword was fun. You could shoot laser beams. So it's kind of fun to like explore this game and like break it a little bit, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yourself, what was your most notable part? So notable part is something you'd talk about. You're going to remember for a little while.
How dumb I felt because I didn't press start.
Like, just reset the game, get a bottle, like reset the clock, save, get an empty bottle, and have your bow, and then you're good to go.
Yep, basically.
All right, well, that's...
Little dumb.
I did... Sorry, I did like that this randomizer too, the D button had all the transformation masks. I thought that was genius, and I don't know why the vanilla didn't do that, right? Like, you want to be Link, you press up. You want to be Goron, you press right. Deku is left, you know? And I'm like, that is a smart system right there. Nintendo should be ashamed that they did not implement that in the vanilla Majora's Mask.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like, so simple. Especially
there.
Considering it's not really used for anything. It's like, seriously?
Silly.
You could have saved so much clicking into menus.
100%. How about, let's get a little bit negative here. And what's our least favorite part?
Getting a bottle of gold dust. I wish it was anything else. I was like, no, I can't do anything with this.
Yeah, that is a useless one. I did really think that they were trying to tell me early on I should get to Snowhead, so I kept trying to get to Snowhead. In fact, I got to Snowhead, and I got a song or something, like like the Song of Storms, which is kind of useless, from the little baby Goron. And then I painstakingly attempted to count the steps to get up the ladder because I didn't have the Lens of Truth. And I got to Darunia's grave, but I didn't have the Lens of Truth, so I couldn't talk to Darunia. But that's kind of
climbed up it.
An invisible ladder by counting, because like there was someone on the guide. It was like up 26 over 8, up 14, left 8, up 26, right.
Oh my god.
8. Yeah. I fell off a lot, so I did that for a while. Least favorite parts. All right, so if I was to do it again, I would set it up so that you wouldn't have to play mini games to get key items in this adventure. I don't really like the mini games. I don't think they're the strongest in Majora's Mask at all, or at least specifically like the ones you have to complete multiple times. So I'm looking at you, Deku game and Honey Darling game, because I beat the Deku game the first day, and they gave me nothing. And then I looked at the cheats afterwards, and they're like, "Oh, that's the ice arrows." And I was like, "I'm not gonna play that game for 3 days to get ice arrows. Come on, guys." So, and the randomizer for this is actually pretty customizable. So going back, I could have set up my seed so that you don't have to do that, right? And or like your first attempt just kind of gets you those things, right? It's to help speed up the process.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. What about a criticism? So final negative on this seed, and then we'll move on.
I guess that it was not super straightforward at the beginning of this game. Like there's not a ton of options to run around and do. Like it's very sequenced.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that without if you try to break that sequence a little bit, it can really mess with your day. But it's like Ocarina of Time so much more feels so much more open-ended because there's kind of just I guess lots to do right out of the bat, and you don't have to run to A to B. You can kind of do the first almost as soon as you're out of the Kakariko village, it's pretty open-ended. But
yeah.
I guess just it's a little bit more sequenced, and if you can't attack anything without a sword, it's so hard.
Yeah, no, that's my criticism too, is not having a sword early on in this game. It sucks. Unless you find the Fierce Deity Mask, you cannot unless fast travel owl statues, and you have to travel on foot anywhere, and it takes up so much time. I think literally one of the difficulties I had early on was I would be on day 3, night of day 3, and I was just trying to run between the swamp and the mountain or something, and because I'm running normal speed, I made 2 or 3 trips, and then I was like, I actually can't finish the sequence. I was trying to, I don't know, plant beans and get spring water or something, right? Something like that. And I was like, so I have to climb up to Darunia to get the hot spring water because I can't get spring water anywhere else for some reason. And then as it cools, I can use that to plant the bean and get to this palace. But by the time I would get back there, it would almost be, the game would be almost sequence would be over. And I was like, that's really good. So, but if you get the Fierce Deity Mask or sword, who knows? So then, all right. Yep. How about a final praise of this experience?
Very, very ambitious. Very cool. I love randomizers. I think it's incredible what you do. And I mean, even with me, if I had spend a little bit more time with it, I probably could have started generating my own randomizers and started kind of messing around with it. And I think that's because if I could start myself off with a bow and arrow or something like that, idiot. These people have put a lot of work into it, even the fixing of the controls, like you said earlier, the D-pad to select masks. It's these people obviously this is a work of passion. It's so admirable, and I'm happy that people out there are creating this so we can mess around with it, and even if it's 20 minutes to 20 hours, it's cool that people are doing this. So
great. Awesome. Yeah. Myself, huge praise just for the great team that worked really hard creating this experience and sharing it with the world. I love randomizers, even though I failed. I still find that it's a very enjoyable experience. And it's kind of you look forward to trying, I don't know, a game you're familiar with, but in a different way, right? Even about Pokemon. You could just replay Pokemon Blue, but if it's all randomized, you get weird Pokemon jumping out at you at all points. All of a sudden, you start out with Kangaskhan, and you're like, do I love Kangaskhan now? And I think that's super awesome, and just everyone that kind of works on those things, big kudos. I don't know if there was I'm sure you don't get money. You'd probably do it out of passion. And I think that's where great art comes from, right? When it's not just a financial gains, it's from something deeper. So
Yeah, and it's nice that, like, let's say this is your favorite game. It's kind of nice to be able to mix it up and change up the variety so it stays fresh, and it gives just another avenue for, like, just like it's like infinite spawning DLC. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Okay, so then I just basically copied our template from Ocarina of Time. So we're doing this, apparently. So we're going to look at the OG, so the original 2000 release versus the 3DS remake. I don't know if you played on the 3DS remake, but we have to talk about it. So I played through this Majora's Mask twice during this podcast. Once on my 3DS during my playthrough, and then once on the N64 for my playthrough of the randomizer. The 3DS version was released 15 years after the original, so it is fair to say that it is visually more impressive. But do graphics really count? Oh, wow, what a cool sentence that was. What about... So, same idea, we're just going to run through review style. Tyson, what's your favorite part?
I mean, cleaning up the textures is really nice. But, I mean, playing this game on the go is awesome, especially with some fixed controls. And it's not like just like slapped onto an Android device or an iOS device. It's nice to be able to just pick this up, play it on the go, play it for half an hour, close the screen, move on to something else. Or I love the portability of it. Like, give me this on the Switch.
Yeah, fair enough. Myself, I was going to say the fact that they cleaned up the Bomber's Notebook in the 3DS version, right? In the OG, it was just kind of an awful, confusing mess. And if you were playing this game without a walkthrough using the Bomber's Notebook, I don't think you could actually complete everything, right? As opposed to, I think you could make an argument in the 3DS version, it's actually useful, and you might be able to complete tasks. It gives you hints, you can set reminders, so you don't miss out on key events during sequences, right? Like if you're doing the couples mask side quest and you're like, oh, I gotta be at the Stockpot Inn at this time, you could set a reminder and like the game will kind of like alarm. So if you're doing something else, you're like, oh, I should go do that, which makes just collecting everything so much easier and cleaner. I like that. What about your most notable part? So something that you're remembering for a while, or you're going to tell your friends about?
Well, if I was going to compare this to the other game, it's like the big standout, the graphics. It just getting rid of the N64. Like, I love the N64, but it's super old 3D hardware, so it's nice to kind of revive these games in the post polygon like dependent era. So it's nice to see these games get some loving.
Nice. Sweet. Most notable, myself, updated graphics. It just looks beautiful on the 3DS. It's stunning. The box art in the game upgrades. The box art to the in-game upgrades almost makes it a definitive version. That is a smart point. I never would have thought of that, so I'm glad I wrote that down. That's nice. All right. What is your least favorite part of this?
I
think what the notes is like the 3DS review, a 3DS review versus the OG. So like the specific changes, I think is kind of what we're going for. If you haven't clued into that yet, so what's your least favorite part, or the thing they changed about the 3DS, and you're like, that's silly?
I can't think of something off the top of my head, but I know that there was probably one or two mechanics in the game that they broke, and they're like they were fine in the first game. So just why did you break them?
Yeah.
In the remake, I can't really think of a glaring example, but I know there's just like little goofy changes. Like, I get changing old systems to modernize them, make them a little more user friendly, but sometimes it just you don't need change for change's sake.
Yeah, myself, easy, hands down, the Zora swimming mechanics. In the OG, you could swim fast with just a press of a button, and you'd have to use magic for your shield. For some reason, in the 3DS, they're like, what if you had a swim button, but to use magic, then you swam fast? It doesn't flow well. It's clunky. On the moon, when you're collecting the heart pieces or whatever, you're trying to collect all the mask, and you're going through the pipes, there's like these really tough jumps that are just not fun. Like, the swimming sucks. Absolutely just is a horrific. It wasn't good in the OG, but they didn't lean on it. In the 3DS, they're like, hey, we have this really cool mechanic, we should like lean into it, like the Goron rolling that everyone loves. No, it's bad. It sucks. I hate it. I hate that you tried to make it more important. Not good. And how about a final criticism?
I mean, are the graphics that much of a difference?
No. They just literally smoothed everything.
Yeah, basically. And they changed some character models, and it bugs me.
Yeah. I don't think I enjoyed any of the updates in this game that much, right? Things they changed, I'm like, don't change it. I just literally want better graphics, right? It's kind of like my Final Fantasy VII argument. I'm like, I just want Final Fantasy VII. I don't want a whole new game about ghosts and stuff. I want literally just updated graphics, right? So, like, the Odalawa fight was kind of fun, just because he's super easy. You just shoot him with bows and he dies in the original. This one, you have to, like, drop Deku Nuts on him and then attack an eye. Awesome. The other boss fights, they wrecked. They're absolutely horrific. Goat? I used to go out of my way, load up the Snowhead Temple, warp up to the boss, fight Goat, throw in some music, and play that like 3 or 4 times, and that would be half an hour of my day as a kid. Loved it. Now, it sucks. You attack him, and then he goes down, and then you have to like get out and shoot his eye with like your sword or arrows or something, and it just wrecks the flow of the adventure so much. The Goat, like, horrific. Absolutely horrific. The twin molds, the goat fights, they're bad. They suck, and like they didn't improve it. They didn't make it better. They didn't change it. They actually wrecked it, and that's the worst thing you should do when you're trying to like update a game like this. Just awful.
Yeah, and I guess that's why it's kind of hard to say that this is the definitive edition, because it's just like you're kind of torn between two worlds instead of just doing the easy thing of just updating the graphics and giving us all the or similar systems, but even the changing of sometimes the locations of the mask. I think it's the stone mask. It's just completely different. It's like, okay, why?
Yep.
Just
it doesn't make, because you should have to like kill because it's like, is it closer? Is that a proximity thing? But then you can't use it to get through the Zora the Gerudos. I don't get it. It's just like
Yep.
All right, cool. And then finally, how about a positive praise for the 3DS remakes? Overall, I would recommend playing the OG over the 3DS remake. Oh, I do love this game, which you will as well. Then play the remake and see the updates and like kind of judge for yourself, because maybe there's a market for like the 3DS remake and people are like, oh no, it's the definitive version. I love it. It's not for me. I think the OG is just cleaner. It's better Zelda concepts. It's not the fluff. You don't need the fluff, and the graphics. If you're playing a game just because of the looks, I never understand that. Oh, it looks beautiful. I'm like, every game looks beautiful, right? Like even like a gross game like Hello Neighbor, that's kind of weird and ugly. Like it's still a beautiful looking experience, right?
Yeah, and I mean graphics don't make everything. Like I mean,
no, I love sprites. I think sprites are way better than polygons. I think some of the older stuff that you find on the Super Nintendo looks better than stuff you found on the original Xbox, right? Like.
Oh, or like the PlayStation 1 era version of stuff. Like, I mean, if you want to see horror, look at the original Resident Evil on a CRT TV, and it's like, what's this gray mat, or what's this brown and black and gray that I'm staring at? They're like, there's red mixed in there.
It seems like it's the most shallow thing. Like, oh, the graphics are beautiful. It's the same thing. I'm an old school guy. I like practical effects. I think a puppet looks way better than CGI. It always will. Even if it's an ugly looking puppet, I know it's real versus all CGI looks fake, right? As soon as it happens, I'm like, oh, that's not real.
Yeah. Right. And I mean, like, it's not, I kind of lean towards the OG because it's they made a few changes but the changes aren't massively upgrades. And when it comes to graphics, like, I mean, it's basically they literally just smooth things. It's like they just threw it through a like better processing engine. That's all they did. Like I don't know. But it like if they would upgraded the art design and gave us like more modernized feel that way, it's like then now we're talking. But like when it's just smoothed and added a little bit of bumps here and there, but if you squint, it looks the exact same. It's like, you could have done something better here. So
yeah, okay, cool. So that's kind of praise, final thoughts. That apparently we're doing final thoughts on. That's all we got from Majora's Mask. We talked about everything from differences in remakes, randomizers, to we went through the game in painstaking details. There's not one stone we left unturned. We even talked about the stone mask, people. One thing I was thinking about, we did definitely not talk about how this game represents depression. and how depressing Majora's Mask is, and I think that's one thing I'd like to do before we give our final thoughts. So do you know the theory about grief? Or sorry, it's grief. Grief and Majora's Mask. You've heard that theory, right?
It rings a bell, but we also need to kind of wrap up the Battle of the Links at some point, too.
Oh my gosh, we do. Okay, that's got to be on like episode 1. I'll pull up those notes at some point. So the theory about Majora's Mask and grief. So there's 5 stages of grief, all right?
Yep.
The first stage is denial. So, this can't be real. That person can't be dead. I can't die are like common things that you'll hear in kind of those those worlds, right? That represents the people of Clocktown. So there's lots of arguing. They say, hey, the sky is not falling. That moon is just big in the sky because it's just this time of year. It always happens. It's not a big deal. So they're in denial. The next one is anger. Then you start getting angry. Like, you know what? It's not my time to die. It's not fair that person's dead. How dare they? How dare this person get taken away from me? If you go to the Deku Swamp, you find that the Deku people are quite angry, right? They capture the monkeys because of anger that they're trying to deal with this. The next one is depression. So then you start being like, oh no, woe is me, I can't make it. If you go to the Snowhead area, or like the Goron levels, the baby's crying because he misses his dad. He's depressed. The next one is... Oh no, sadness. I guess it'd be sadness, depression. So sadness is crying. Depression would be then the 4th phase. If you go to the Great Bay Temple, Lulu has lost her children. She can't talk. She's depressed. And then finally, it's acceptance. Hey, you know what? It's going to happen. I accept that I'm going to die. I accept that that person died. I accept that this loss happened in my life. And that you see that in the iconic canyon, right? So they live with the dead. The dead is part of the world. They come back to life. They're like, oh, we're dead, but we deal with it, right? So it's acceptance. So that's kind of the themes of this game. So it's kind of a cool little concept. That's been out there for a while, so that's nothing new. I just thought I should talk about it for a little bit, right?
Yeah. It's interesting. I believe bargaining's in there somewhere.
Is there bargaining? I don't know.
I don't know. I just no. You're probably right, but I'm just thinking of I'm thinking of the Simpsons thing where it's this is your progress astounds me.
Denial, anger, bargaining,
yeah,
depression, and acceptance. So which one? Bargaining. How does the Goron people go with bargaining?
I'm not sure. But it's interesting. But I think that that just shows the strength of the story and the world that they created, because they tried to go for, it's a fantastical world, but it's kind of grounded in reality, and characters have emotions and depths, and when they lose someone, they get sad. So I think it's interesting, and it's a lot of people kind of coming to terms with accepting death when, like, even on the 3rd day, some people stay and watch it, like the lovers. They kind of go through like this whole, like, they get a happier story arc, but it still ends up it still ends. So it's very interesting. I think that they've done a wonderful world kind of creating the atmosphere. So it just goes to show the strength of the game, that those things that are kind of always around us kind of seep in. So it's a very, very cool game. And I think the Skull Kid's kind of a really tragic story, and he doesn't even really get like a good happy ending. It's like, yeah, he was a pretty messed up kid and did some messed up stuff, but he's also like, he didn't really have any support or guidance. So, and the 2 people that are there to support and guide him basically show his only potential friend at the end of the game. So
yeah. Well, did you? What was it?
Theory.
So here I found here. I'm going to read the sentence. I don't know if this makes sense. So Darmani's futile hope to be brought back to life is a textbook example of bargaining. Unable to face his failure or his people in order to find closure, he turns to magic as a means to undoing his death in order to finish the battle with the demon. In a way, we can see bargaining as a sort of social or a second denial, no longer fueled by anger, but instead by foregone hope in the face of fear. Cool. As well as what did you mention? You mentioned something. Oh, did we ever talk about the old grandma, and she like tells the story about the mask festival and how they celebrate the giants, and then there was a little imp who was friends with the giants, and Majora. Did we talk about that?
I don't think so, but
okay. Well, that's like a weird thing that.
Up.
Yeah, like we get the old Knight's Mask. You learn this backstory, and you learn that there was 4 giants, and they had this friend, and a long time ago, they were friendly, and now they left, and the imp's like, oh, I'm sad, I wish I had friends, and that's the Skull Kid, until he meets the fairies, and he then gets Majora's Mask, and it brings out kind of his grief and longing for his friends, and I think the theory then is Majora then kind of like, he wants to bring the earth down because he's hoping that the giants come back, right? Like he wants his friends back is kind of what I think we're going for. So it's not just chaos and destruction. It's actually he's just lonely and he's using this maleficent power. Even though it's going to cause harm, he just really wants his friends back. And I think that's kind of like the overarching plot of this game, right?
Yep. And I think that is like, it's very interesting that that's the story of a Zelda game. Like that's our villain's motivation. And I mean, you could surface level and just be like, oh, he causes chaos and destruction. But it's like, no, there's a lot more going on to him. And there's like lots of layers. And you kind of like think about it, it's like this kid's doing like, yeah, a very selfish thing, bringing the moon down. But it's he's doing it out of like pain and anger. So it's very interesting. It's nice that like Link can kind of bridge that be there what he needs. And it's like it's a much more like at the end of the world you're saving the world from the moon crashing into it, but it feels like such a more small and contained story because it has a lot more going on emotionally. So.
Yeah cool. All right, so then you want to do final thoughts on the series and then the battle royale, or the battle royale and then the final thoughts?
Let's do the battle royale, then our final thoughts.
All right, so I pulled up our final thoughts from our first one. So, Battle Royale, we used to do this, then we stopped. Let's start again. Previously in the Battle Royale, we gave the Beast from A Link to the Past in the Oracle games / and Awakening the crown. Let's revisit this Battle Royale and see where everyone stands. So we have 4 Links in today's contest. We have the Minish Cap Link. He has experience, 6 dungeons, attack power 5, his health / defense is 14 hearts plus a defensive tunic, and his wild card is the ability to shrink. Versus Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. He's got experience 9 plus 4 dungeons, so 13 dungeons in total, so 9 from Ocarina, 4 from Majora. Attack power of 4, that's the Great Fairy Sword. He has 20 health plus Naru's Love, which is a shield. His wild card is the use of masks, specifically the transformation masks. Link to the Past, Oracle / Awakening. He has experience 10 dungeons and A Link to the Past, 16 from the Oracle games, and 9 from Awakening. So that's 35. It's a lot. Attack power is 8. That's the Golden Sword. So he might be the strongest. 20 health plus the ring / defensive canes. That's his health defense. And wild card is his Pegasus boots / ring / can jump with the Rock's Feather. That's pretty exciting. And then finally, Legend of Zelda 1 / Adventures of Link. So he has 16 dungeons in the 2 NES games. He has 5 attack power. That's not bad. 16 health plus upgrades in Zelda 2 and defensive magic spells. And the wild card is he uses the Triforce of Courage / Thunder, which is a scream nuke. So now that we've come back to this and I've reread it again, do we have a definitive answer after seeing Majora's Mask Link, this beast with this bag of tricks? Do we have a new champion, or does the guy from A Link to the Past still hold the crown?
Yeah, it's tough because I think that in a heads-up battle, I think A Link to the Past has got him, but Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask has, if he has his masks, he's pretty much unstoppable. Because I don't see how you take down giant. What's the giant's mask? Is Giant's Mask?
I think it's just called Giant Mask. Yeah.
Yeah, it like that in itself, and then you add the Fierce Deity. It's like these are 2 extremely powerful and unlimited magic. It's like this guy's a beast. But the other thing is, it's like but that's Kid Link, right?
Yes.
So I mean, his bedtime's 8 o'clock. So I mean, A Link to the Past is probably like I'm a little more adult Link. So I mean, he just like grounds him, and then he's I think I think Link to the Past still holds on to the title for this one, but that might just be me stretching it.
All right, so I mean that might be a capper. If you listen to all these episodes in succession, rather than we probably did that like 6 months ago. I didn't even remember that we did a battle royale. I was just going to avoid it. So good job, Tyson. Yeah, I mean on paper he looks like he's a little bit stronger. He's got way more dungeon experience, right? He can jump. You know, he can jump up and attack your shin when you're a giant. Yeah, you're right. So you're going to give it to the old man Link from the Oracle games who time travels. Cool.
Yeah. That's maybe a little bit of my bias because he might be my favorite. So.
That's fair. I think that was it. I mean, this is kind of where the battle royale was going, right? So it's Ocarina of Time, the Hero of Time, versus I don't even want to call that Link to the Past Link. Like those were kind of like the two big powerhouses. So if you definitively think it's him, I don't know if anyone else is going to beat him.
Yeah, no, I think we might have one contender that's coming up because we got one more game that's coming up. So we might have a big adventure on our hands because we can't quite take it by dungeon. Because if we're gonna take it by take it by dungeon and stuff, I know Breath of the Wild might have a bit more dungeons.
A little bit more experience. Yeah, that's interesting. All right. Okay.
And he might have two. He's gonna have 2 games, so we'll see. We might have a contender on the horizon, but
all right. I mean, he also has a motorbike, so.
Yep.
Okay. So, final thoughts. I will read through this. Tyson, if you want to soliloquize anything after the fact, you can. But this is it, guys. This is all I have to say about these gaming experiences. Wow. This was quite a journey. Thanks for coming along the ride with us. Ocarina of Time is an amazing first attempt at a 3D Zelda game. It provides you with enough story to satisfy your curious mind and to build a world that is worth exploring. The dungeons use 1 or 2 3D elements, but you can tell they were still just kind of playing around with the whole 2D, 3D transition. Majora's Mask doesn't have the lore or story that Ocarina of Time has. I wouldn't say that it's an epic adventure by any means. It has fewer dungeons, no time travel, and you don't feel as connected with Link in the game. However, the world of Termina is one of the greatest feats in gaming. Clocktown is fully realized world that has living people in it. The world changes through the 3-day cycle as you interact with and that changes the people's lives for the better. The dungeons are amazing. Snowhead, Great Bay, and Snow Tower Temple may be some of the greatest 3D dungeons ever made. Combined, these 2 games give you everything from exploration, story, narrative, character development, fear, hope, and love. It was my pleasure playing through these games with all of you over the last year. It is experiences like this that remind me why I do this podcast and, more importantly, why I play and love video games. Thank you, and I hope that we did these amazing games justice. Oh, there you go. Follow that one up, Tyson. Huh? You don't write anything before the show, and then I hit you with that, huh? Come on.
I say, well said. Well said.
All right.
Fantastic game. We've heaped both these games praises for many episodes now, but these games are so good and have a lot of passion in them, so it's good. And you have to go back and play these games if you love the Zelda franchise. So yeah, these are some of the best games ever made.
Yeah, no, I agree. Could not agree more. So awesome, good. So with that, I think it was probably our longest retrospective, which was kind of fitting. I think it was our last one, close to almost an hour now, right? So that's good. So we'll kind of wrap that up. Into scary spooky months, we got a couple scary spooky games coming at you. Maybe the Halloween specials. I think we actually have a lot of content dropping in October, which is kind of nice. And then just kind of piddle it out for the rest of the year. So good times.
Absolutely. I think I got to say James Bond at some point.
I think you do have to say James Bond at some point. So awesome, cool. So with that done, bye Zelda.
Take it easy, and we'll be back, but we probably won't be hitting the N64 ones for until the Let's Play.
Well, what's left? So we have to. I mean, in theory, we have to jump main title to Wind Waker, right, on the GameCube. Yep. That's the next one. We've hit all the handhelds, right? What the heck? Where are we at? I guess I guess we have to do Wind Waker next.
I think so. Yeah, unless there's a side one that we need to touch on, but I think it's Wind Waker, and then we're into the Four Swords and many more handheld titles territory.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, so like Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask, Oracles did those. Link to the Past, Four Swords. That seems very complicated to play. So yeah, we're out to Wind Waker. Huh. Minish Cap, we did that. Like Twilight Princess, Phantom. I mean, like, I would say Phantom Hourglass should probably come after Wind Waker. So. Huh.
Yeah, and then we have Spirit Tracks.
Yeah, I've never played Spirit Tracks. I've heard okay things. We'll see. We'll see when we get there, right? So, maybe I think after spending a whole year playing Zelda, though, like maybe we just don't play Zelda next year and give it kind of that little bit of a break, right?
Yeah. I probably not a bad idea.
It probably makes sense, and then maybe try and get back to it in the next year or something. So that's probably what's going to happen. So if you're listening, unless of course we get fan response, like I make stuff up. I just make up a random schedule that we stick to for some reason religiously. If you ever like, hey man, you guys should definitely do this game, we could jump out of order. You're like, oh man, I'd love to listen to you guys talk about Twilight Princess. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, we could do that. I mean, that was a plan for 2027, but I guess we could break it.
Or maybe people are like, I really want to hear your guys' opinion on the new Breath of the Wild game.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible. Possible. Cool. So with that, without kind of further ado, there you go. So maybe Zelda next year, maybe not Zelda next year. So maybe we'll play a randomizer of some kind, randomly. I know we've already played A Link to the Past twice, but maybe we'll play it a third time. Who knows?
Who knows?
There's a very good chance that Link to the Past Super Metroid randomizer is the next Let's Play that's coming up on the YouTube channel. So if we could ever figure out how to play together, or like Tyson watch me record or something, or like I watch him play and we chat, maybe that's something that could come to down the line. So there you go.
Yep. Well, open to possibilities. And cool. I mean, now that to try to get our streaming in order. Now that every permutation is out there on the table, good job, us. Bye, Zelda. Bye, Link. Bye, Hyrule. Bye, everybody. For now. All right. With that, without further ado, goodbye. See you. Okay.